In the aftermath of Mississippi's Pearl River flooding, the city of Jackson continues to have issues with contamination and access to running water. But this isn't an isolated incident. Hundreds of thousands of Jackson residents have had problems with access to drinking water for years. In a city that is over 80% African American, many are questioning the racial ties to these decades-long infrastructure issues. Morning Joe reporter Daniela Pierre-Bravo recently traveled to Jackson to speak to residents and local and state and federal leaders on solutions for both a long-term and short-term plan to fix the issue.
The current water crisis in Jackson, Mississippi is the latest in a long history of infrastructure issues for the city. Last week, the head of the EPA met with the mayor of Jackson and governor of Mississippi to discuss a long-term plan to fix the city's aging water system. But for many of the residents of Jackson, the question they're asking is, will this time be different?
We focused on the fact that not only are we rebuilding infrastructure and providing quality drinking water, but we're rebuilding trust. There has been an attitude of indifference, a lack of investment in the infrastructure in Jackson. Many of these communities have been marginalized for generations. And so the first step is admitting that they have not always had a seat at the table.
For many leaders in the community, the EPA's visit signifies a possibility for long-term change.
Well, first of all, it shows a commitment from this administration. Now the thing is, what are they going to do? This is an important step. I think it's a critical step. But this is not about one administration mayor. This is not about one governor. This is about an aging infrastructure that needs to be replaced.
We are in an ongoing state of emergency, even when we're not facing a boil water notice or reduced pressure as we are facing at this point in time.
The relationship between the state and the city, if we're honest, has been contentious as long as I've known it. But, you know, the fact that we're all in the room is a plus. My fear is, having seen this before, 2 Februaries ago, for instance, that when the media attention dies down, that, you know, the urgency might die down as well.
That fear is rooted in much of the frustration and inaction residents have felt for decades. Macy Brown is a college student in Jackson and serves as an executive coordinator for the ACLU. She's also leading an effort to deliver drinking water to residents who can't make it to the city's distribution centers.
We have some people saying, hey, I don't have any water left. Could somebody bring me some? It's just me and my elderly husband. I can't get out. Or I don't have family here. I don't have children here. We have some people say, hey, I'm disabled. If somebody could bring the cases to actually place it in my house. We understand that the people who are at the head of this state don't have any urgency on helping us, so we have to help ourselves until that comes.
There has always been, in the history of this state, resistance to progress for the poorest and the neediest of people, predominantly African American. And so the work that is needed today and that is happening today is very much a direct result of ongoing work since then. The civil rights movement never ended. It's still happening today. I would argue that what's happening in Jackson right now with the water crisis has to go back at least to 1970. The Supreme Court finally said that Mississippi and other southern states and other states around the nation must proceed with desegregation. As their support is pulled from, at that time, a majority white city, so does the support for all of the things that make Jackson function as a major metropolitan area. And over the next 50 years, there has been an increasingly hostile relationship between state leadership and a city that is increasingly black.
It feels as if they're trying to come in as if they're saving the day. They're not saving. This is just a part of their job. If you are the governor of a state, if you are state leadership representing constituents, you're responsible for making sure that they're good. I don't like the tone that the state has towards Jackson right now, as if we're an independent entity and not a city of the state. I don't know how else to put it. It just feels racist. I don't know how else to sugarcoat it. I mean, I don't think if Jackson was still a majority white city or had such a large white population, we would be facing this problem.
This country has struggled with racism for a long time. And so what we want to do is acknowledge that some people have been disproportionately impacted.
In the city of Jackson, 80% African American city, you don't find this level of systemic failure unless you look at cities of colors or cities of poverty.
While water pressure has been restored in Jackson, concern over the safety of water contamination continues. Roughly 150,000 Jackson residents remain under a boil water notice. Morning Joe reached out to the Mississippi governor's office for comment. We did not hear back.